What's up? Welcome to a new episode of Movie Schmovie. This is episode number 445. My name is Steve. I'm one of the co-hosts of the show, and as always, I'm joined by
Ron.
And time permitting, Frank Sinatra.
I thought maybe Popcorn, anyone?
Another option was
that's my line.
Was I am Albert Potato. Who are you?
Yeah. That's John. That's John over there.
Yes.
Good to see you both. Back for another episode. I don't want to put you on the spot here, Ronald, but did anybody win the giveaway last week? I wanted to ask you live on the pod.
No,
Did we get anybody responding?
Yes. Okay. So somebody asked a question in a video, in a comment to the short.
Okay.
Is it international? And I said to them, yes, but you have to redeem it for a U.S. Service.
Oh, too
So
bad.
I don't think that they can redeem it for Apple Portugal or something like that.
Yeah. That's a bummer. That's a bummer.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess if they have an American account, because some people travel.
Okay. Well, I'm happy since somebody wrote back. I'll let you take care of navigating the international waters with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, good to see you both. We're gonna get maybe a quick episode. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But we're talking about going over some. There's some fun trailers that dropped this week for some big summer movies. We're gonna talk a little bit about the White Lotus season, maybe a little in the finale. Ronald, you were able to see an advanced screening of Drop, one of the new releases in theaters this weekend. So we'll go through that. But before we get there, John, you want to take us into your choice for required viewing this week again?
Yes, required viewing this week was conceived as a little bit of a tribute to Val Kilmer, who passed away very recently. But also it was another one of those cases for me where I realized here's a movie that I've seen lots of pieces of and I have opinions of,
right?
In a way, but I had not really sat down and just watched the whole movie. I think I've watched it on commercial television at some point. Like I said last week, I think Comedy Central or some cable channel must have run it a lot, because I do remember seeing lots of parts of this movie. And it also may have just been when Comedy Central used to run. Do you guys remember when they used to run just clips from comedies, like as though it was a music video? Like they would do a block of like 2 hours, 3 hours a day, of maybe most of the day actually, of just clips from movies. But it would be like the movies they had the access to. So it would be the weirdest bunch of like really old
familiar.
shit and stuff from the 60s and stuff from the 80s. And, this movie I think got heavily excerpted in that sense. But I'd always known it, and growing up with the airplane movies and all that, and the Abrams school of comedy, I knew a lot about this movie, and it's funny watching the movie. I can even remember the jokes that were in the trailer. But there was something kind of naughty seeming about this movie. Maybe that whole school of comedy had a sort of hard PG kind of quality to it, which in the 80s, folks, PG included boobs. You should just know that. But I don't know. I think for me, this movie was a little bit of a blind spot and a little bit of a throwback at the same time. And so I was happy to bring it on to the show as a tribute to Val, who we were sad to lose.
There he is.
But I don't know. So I mean, within that being said, I think I kind of knew what to expect from it, in the sense that it is one of those movies where it's just a string of jokes, a string of gags, visual gags, very cartoony. But I also think there were certain things about the movie that I had to kind of get into its vibe, or think about what the movie was trying to do outside of just the jokes. And the kind of movie even that it's trying to poke fun at is a little bit different, is a little specific. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a very specific kind of movie that this movie is making fun of. In addition to being like making fun of sort of like prison break movies, World War II, that type of stuff, and behind enemy lines stuff. So it feels like a World War II movie, but it's not really World War II, and it's kind of an Elvis movie. It's I don't know. It's a lot of those types of things. So I think it was interesting just to kind of see what this thing is, and also just to see. I had forgotten that Val Kilmer was ever so lanky.
Yeah.
I knew he was trim. I didn't think of him as like a string bean like that.
some of the physical comedy, like just his kind of presence, like when you kind of see like how he's like slouched over everything, you kind of like, oh wow, he was really lanky's a good word, but he's also so young. He's like that's the one thing I felt watching, and I was like, man, it's like that's really kind of like an introduction to him is this movie, but it's like, man, he was a kid, like he's so young and
Yeah,
so just gorgeous. I don't know. I don't know. That was really what hit me in the first like
he really is.
10, 15 minutes of it. I was like, God, he's so good looking and he's so young. It really is what makes me think like anytime I see like Thelma and Louise and see Brad Pitt, it's like it's that feeling I see. And that's
Yeah.
I kind of feel it when I saw this. I was like, that is just it right there on the
Mhm.
screen. Like he's got it and it's like all over it. And like, Chris is like a great character. He's funny, he's got some heart. His comic timing is great in the movie.
You mean Nick?
Oh, Nick, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking like this is like an introduction to someone that maybe didn't do as much comedy later on. There's definitely comedies that he's been in. We've talked about like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang on this
Mhm.
pod a lot, but like you can definitely
MacGruber,
feel
you gotta
like
say that one.
yeah, in some of his even in roles that weren't purely comedy films, he's got that kind of comic timing, and it's just like it's just all over this movie. It was really fun to rewatch it.
Ronald, I want to hear what you have to say, but I want to just mention something, Steve, you just made me think of, because we were talking about this physicality of Val Kilmer, the kind of cartoony physicality. It's interesting to me to think of what I think of as one of the most original, unique performances of all time. It was a couple of years after this. And it's kind of in this vein. It's Nicolas Cage in Raising Arizona, who is another like cartoon character brought to life sort of physical vibe. It's interesting to think that those guys were both the sort of hot young leading man around this time, who was being taken seriously as an actor, but was also very much open to doing, extremely
Yeah,
silly stuff, but also you get a sense that they're getting into like the scene in the prison cell when Val Kilmer's like sliding, he climbs up a chute and he slides down a chute into the room. His physicality, he's like really doing a sort of a loose-limbed kind of cartoon physical comedy style, like a physical comedian or a silent film comedian almost. So there's obviously a nod to, I mean, these young actors around this time were not immune to the idea of doing something kind of classic, even if they were also doing something that was kind of iconoclastic, at the same time. What do you think, Ronald? I mean, honestly, we talked a little bit around this time about like you were aware of this type of movie, but you said you had not seen this one. So yeah, do you now see it as distinct from Hot Shots? Hot Shots Part 2?
So much more distinct. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't really like this movie, but he was funny. I mean, like the stuff that he was doing was so funny. Like you're right.
yeah,
Like he's a beautiful man. So when this guy Nigel comes and he's supposed to be like the opposition, and he's supposed to be kind of intimidated by him, I'm like, I don't buy this at all. Val is such a presence. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he's not gonna lose this beautiful woman. You know what I mean?
Not to this guy.
Not to this guy.
No, Ronald, this movie is so of its time. I felt a little bit of what you're talking about, the sort of like, oh, I see what this is. It was kind of how I felt when I was watching it at different points. It kept winning me over with some joke that would get me in and I would laugh. But like as far as the overall feel of it, I was kind of going, oh, this isn't quite that. Sometimes you watch one of those overlooked movies and you're looking for like a gem, an absolute gem. And this didn't have the luster of an absolute gem. But it was, I still enjoyed things throughout it.
Me too.
But
like,
anyway.
there were some gags that just were hilarious. Like I don't know why the thing where they were escaping and he like kind of rushed the bikes to run away. Like they
He
were
shoos
animals.
the bikes off
He
like
shoos
they're
them
horses,
Like
yeah.
they're horses.
right.
I thought that like, stuff like that just that's something that if I saw as a kid, I would not forget it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
It's crazy that I hadn't seen this because this was definitely like, if I knew it existed, I would have gotten it from Errol's video. Like I would have,
Yeah.
I would have been like,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
my movie.
yeah.
Like I would have for sure watched it. And I think it being kind of a relic in that way would have, it would have hit me. It would have been
Sure.
one of the movies that I would have liked. Especially, I was a big Naked Gun fan, so this is right up my alley.
Yeah.
I think it would have made me look into like history a little more. Like this hits like, just location based. I would have wanted to know, kind of about the locations in history, and the Nazi stuff was crazy. Like this is like the Nazi clock in the diner. It's like stuff like that. So it was nuts. It was a nuts movie. And it has so many gags that you have to watch movies like that sometimes 2-3 times before you even see a fourth of some of the stuff that's in it. You know, it's like
Yeah.
so jam packed full of little jokes and microaggressions and weird things that happen. So much has happened in the foreground and the background.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like some of the jokes, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was really crazy that he performed Elvis songs. What about the parody versions of songs that we know? Like that was nuts to me. Like I kind of love that part about it.
When he said this is a jingle that I wrote for Macy's, and it was Are You Lonesome Tonight, but it had lyrics about Macy's. No, I mean I think it's funny to be like, it needs to be a movie that you wouldn't overhype and that you would watch on a Saturday afternoon on cable, because in that case it's charming, and I think that's when you talk about, like, I wrote down just like dated, like it's more of its time than I thought it would be, in the sense that certain jokes just haven't come to our current era at all. Like I'll just give a few references. The Montgomery Ward mailing list. That part.
Oh my God.
And I think that's to imply that putting someone on the Montgomery Ward mailing list means you're signing them up for a lot of mail from this catalog.
Yeah.
But I don't think that joke has made it to 2025 intact. Another joke was what was it? The Publishers Clearinghouse envelope. When the guy's dying and he burns the Publishers Clearinghouse envelope. I don't know if that's still a thing at all, but when I was a kid, you got Publishers Clearinghouse in the mail all the time, and I can't even tell. You remember how in Zoolander 2, there's that, like, why does Justin Bieber have to get hurt in this kind of feeling? Of like, isn't that like an old joke? Or do we even know what we're doing, with this joke?
Right.
I believe that the Publishers Clearinghouse envelope burning in this is a little bit of that, in the sense that they're like, well, people know about those envelopes, and that's the kind of envelope someone would have on them, and he's going to be destroying something, so it could be that, but it doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? It's just a reference, and it hasn't traveled in time. The other one was when he said something about Leroy Neiman paintings, and that was meant to make us think of how awful Leroy Neiman paintings are. And if you look at Leroy Neiman's stuff, you can see how some people might have hated it, but it was like a guy who had these really brightly colored expressionist paintings that he did that were everywhere around that time, and I think that at the time that reference really was something. Even the backstory of the woman and Nigel ending up on the island together is a direct reference to the film, I think it's Island of the Blue Lagoon with Brooke Shields, from around that time. So I'm just saying there's so many things in this that are parodies, not just of things like Are You Lonesome Tonight, Ronald, that have kind of traveled with us, but things that are so of their time that it is more like one of those flash in the pan. I mean, there's aspects of this movie that is trying to do something stylistically that's not just of its moment, but as far as a larger amount of the jokes than I expected to were things that, in 1984 this was a witty thing to say, or a thing to make jokes about that everyone was making jokes about, and so this movie had it in its arsenal. But now that stuff just feels like, you actually screeched the movie to a halt to make a Montgomery Ward mailing list joke. Like, it's, as opposed to the things that do work from this movie that are more like the shooing the bikes away, or when they hug after he plays the song and they crush the guitar between them. I mean, little things like that are just so silly, and they are timeless, that it does make the ways in which this movie feels like it's totally of 1984. It dates it in a way that doesn't always make it charming. In some ways it's got it like a, I don't know if it's corny is the right word for a movie that's trying so hard to be kind of corny, but some of that stuff feels a little corny by today's standards. Like when the crowd's getting into his song, I think that goes on a little long. Just watching people dance around, you're wanting there to be more visual jokes. You know what I mean? I don't know. But still, there's a lot about his star power that kind of carries it. And Chocolate Mousse was not as offensive of a character as I had worried when I warned you last week that we were going to get.
It was going to be like awful. But he was very tolerable. I wasn't. I wasn't offended.
Also, the name was one of many. All the French guys had names like Latrine and Deja Vu and stuff. Yeah. So when they got to him, the chocolate thing's a little cheap, but his character was like a cool character that got to do a lot. I don't know. It was nowhere near what I thought it was going to be, which was going to be. I was really getting myself ready, Ronald, I have to say.
Yeah. I was bracing myself when he came on the screen. I was like, oh, racism is afoot.
Well, when she said that she taught Black history, too, I was like, oh, what kind of joke are they about to make? But they didn't. I think the joke was just in Germany at that time that you would be teaching Black history to a place where there's no Black people. I think that was the joke they were making. But I thought they were getting us ready for something worse, But and even when Omar Sharif's cigar blew up in his face, they did a face that got blown up that wasn't, it wasn't the blackface version of that they used to do. That's so terrible. It was, they in fact went out of their way to make it not look that way. Which, by the way, Omar Sharif being in this is one of those funny legitimizing touches that a movie like this does. Like Airplane had a couple of those actors in it too, who like Robert Stack or Leslie Nielsen, who brought some gravitas to it. This movie has the joke of Omar Sharif getting crushed into a little car shape and then getting an antenna boner. From Dr. Zhivago to antenna boner.
Antenna boner.
The boner ballet was kind of funny.
Yeah, for sure.
But so what is your favorite spoof, Ronald? Like what's the top of the pack if we're gonna, or top of the pile, leader of the pack?
Probably
Leader of the pile.
Naked Gun 33 and a third, and Scary Movie are probably mine.
Okay.
And Airplane. Like, I feel like Airplane's up there too. Does that count?
I think Airplane is.
Airplane
yeah.
counts?
Yeah.
So Airplane too. Yeah.
See, I feel like
Airplane as well. I'm sorry, Airplane as well.
Right, Airplane 2's got some good jokes in it, it's and Naked Gun. Maybe I'm wrong to think that movie and the Airplane, at least the first one. Maybe I'm wrong to think that they're a little bit more paced, better for the jokes, or maybe I'm just remembering. Maybe if I watch them now, they would feel kind of dated too. But I feel like I've seen those enough to know what's in there. But I feel like those movies are a little bit more tightly crafted than this one. Like, it makes sense. This is kind of the sleeper. I didn't even look to see. Was it a huge flop or something?
I don't know.
Do you know, Steve?
I don't think it definitely wasn't like a hit. I don't know how much of a flop it was, though. And his name was Chris. I looked it up. It wasn't Nick.
Oh, Nick. It's not Nick Rivers?
No, I thought it was Chris Knight, but you said, I don't know what Nick River is. That another character is?
Wait, are you not talking about Val Kilmer in this movie?
Val Kilmer in this movie is Chris Knight. Yeah.
No, he's Nick Rivers.
Oh, Nick Rivers. I'm thinking of him in what's the other one?
Is that Real Genius?
Real Genius. Okay, yeah, I'm thinking of the name of that movie.
So let's see here. It made back its budget. So it's just,
what is it? Oh yeah, 8 budget, 8 box office, 13.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So not a smash, but not a movie that that limped away. Although I guess, I don't know, maybe they expected it to do more, because I bet Airplane was a bigger hit than that. At any rate, I'm glad to have seen it, and I do think there's something particularly arresting about the image of a cow in boots walking. There's something really weird about that.
Yeah.
Even though I do think, isn't that like, I feel like that this isn't the only 80s movie where a villain gets like raped by an animal, is it? Because I feel like that's a thing that happens.
It happens quite a bit in movies for some reason.
I feel like it happens in Trading Places. And doesn't it happen to somebody in Ace Ventura 2 as well? Doesn't somebody get...
I feel like that's in the second one. I feel like
that's
there's
what
definitely some...
I meant 2. It's funny. Ace Ventura 2, not as well. But earlier you meant Airplane as well, not Airplane 2.
Yeah, for sure. There was definitely in the Serengeti, somebody got assaulted by an animal.
I know he crawls out of a rhino's butt.
Yeah.
Or birth.
I feel like one of the antagonists gets that. It's like it happens to one of the guys who's got it coming. He's got a little...
had it coming.
He's got a little animal rape coming. But Nigel seemed to kind of like it. Or he liked it when the cow... he liked it when the baby cow was sucking on him. Very raunchy movie. Those are some pretty bad... Like, what was this rated? Now I'm wondering. Oh, PG? Yeah, full-on PG. So it had a calf sucking a guy off and a guy getting fucked by a bull.
Yeah, man. Whose turn is it?
Oh, yeah. You're the one who starts the next round.
Yeah,
now.
Okay. This one's gonna require a little money. require a little money because it's coming out Tuesday, and I'm forcing the issue because I'm trying to see why this company, Catch Up Entertainment, has been plucking these Looney Tune properties just out of thin air to distribute. And the movie that I'm choosing is The Day the Earth Blew Up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm so interested in seeing it, and I'm
I've,
wondering
I've seen it,
why.
and I'm going to hold my thoughts
Okay,
till next time. Yes.
cool. And I'm wondering why Ketchup has been, they distributed this movie and they're distributing the Acme trial movie that's supposed to be incredible. And this one seems to be well received in on Rotten Tomatoes, and from what I've heard it's pretty good, but I want to watch something animated. I know that it's available on PVide this coming Tuesday. So,
Cool. That's
Cool.
great.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
looking forward to that one.
I mean, it's beautifully animated. I mean,
Oh, cool.
in my opinion, you don't see
You got to
2D
hold your opinion, though. You
You don't
said
see
you were going to hold
but
it.
I was just gonna. Well, but I'm just saying it's great to see 2D animation that's not like Disney slick,
Right,
but
right.
still has a lot of effort put into it. You know, it's full animation, but it's still got that Warner Brothers kind of whatever that is that slightly feels more cantankerous and scrappy than the Disney style. But it's just nice to see it animated in a way that's slightly better than, you see it. They've had television versions of these characters over the years, but it's cool to see them do this. And I'm glad it had enough success that these characters, I feel like these characters need somehow to get more respect. I don't really know how to. I don't know if anybody really knows how to make the classic cartoon characters current. But I don't know. This movie does a pretty good job of at least reminding you of why they're classic.
Cool. Very excited about that.
No.
Cool.
All right. So what else, Steve? You said a couple of trailers, maybe.
Yeah, I thought we should just mention the like a new Thunderbolts trailer came out.
Okay.
The at CinemaCon kind of announced the trailer drop for Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. That trailer came out. I mean, again, looks incredible. I feel like there was another longer. What was the other one? Mission Impossible, Thunderbolts. Oh, the Wes Anderson film.
I haven't seen that one.
What is that one called? The one that like Michael Cera. Everybody's talking about how Michael Cera's like, how has he not been in Wes Anderson's movies already?
the
Like he's
Phoenician
perfectly
Scheme or
Scheme,
Phoenician
yeah.
Scam? Yeah.
The Phoenician Scheme, yeah.
Yeah.
Which looks really good. I mean, I'm definitely I'll watch all his movies, but some work for me, some don't. But in general, I am at least entertained by most of them. But this one looks really fun. I don't know any other trailers that came out. I mean, I feel like in the wake of CinemaCon last week and early this week, all these things get dropped in between our recordings, and I feel like there was a couple that we sent around on the thread that at least worth mentioning. Definitely the Mission Impossible one for me is the for the year one of my most anticipated ones for sure. To see what comes of that.
Extended Havoc trailer.
Oh yeah, that was the one you sent us. Yeah, that was cool.
Gareth Evans, I'm pretty excited about that. I feel like there was something else though. Like there was something else that was dropped in there.
There were a lot of trailers dropped. This is my point, but I'm trying to remember the ones that stood out to me. It seemed like there wasn't as much at CinemaCon this year. They only showed one full film apparently this year, which is very weird. And it was the How to Train Your Dragon live action remake that got like phenomenal reviews at CinemaCon. Like they showed the whole movie, which is usually they do that when they know they have something that works months ahead of a summer release. But yeah, I don't know. The trailers look great. Mission just looks like, oh man, I hope they actually go for it, man. We talked about this before, but I hope I hope they go for like the stakes of it all. I would really appreciate that.
I mean, that's what I was going to ask you about, Steve. Like, do you think? But I guess you're answering my question. But it's like, my big question is: Are we to believe that he is going to die in this movie?
I mean, it feels weird to say I hope he does because I don't hope he does, but I hope that there's some real consequence, some real. Not that there haven't been things in the show or in the series so far, but like, there's definitely sequences where like they have those dialogue runs of like it's worth it one last time, and there's a big scene that he's running in the trailer where he's clearly crying as
Hmm.
he's running, and it's like whether it's Ving or Simon, something's got to happen big, and it feels like it would be one of those three.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that would be bonkers, man, if they just went for it. I think it'd just be like I don't know, and especially how it was handled. I think it could be amazing.
I mean, it looks great. The trailer is full of those kind of shots that are really interesting. There's one really funny shot of Tom Cruise that's just a fluke because of the wind hitting his hair in a funny way when he's hanging onto the like the wing of the plane.
Oh yeah,
The wind
yeah,
hits
yeah.
his hair down. He gives him makes it look like he has a Prince Valiant
Yeah, it's
haircut.
like flattened. Yeah, it looks.
But it makes it look
not
like, it
great.
makes him look like Javier Bardem from No Country for Old Men or
Country,
something.
yeah.
I want to take that image and flip it straight, and then like just cut the head out and put it on like a guy in a turtleneck or something from the '70s, because that's what it kind of looks like. No, but
Yeah.
I think it's smart if they get out while he's on the edge of looking like he's trying not to look like he's aging. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as this character, I don't begrudge anybody trying to hold on to their youth or whatever, but you can see it around the hair's looking kind of dark for the face, and so I think playing into that, like I've heard so many people criticize these types of movies, and in fact, I remember the last Indiana Jones movie, people were saying, I don't want to see a 80-year-old Indiana Jones. People don't want to see that, and I felt like I was always like, but I kind of like it. I like it when heroes age and they show their age, and I like that Tom Cruise has increasingly let Ethan Hunt sort of show that he's, it's not like he's losing a step, but he's still the coolest guy in the world in all these movies. Don't worry, Tom. But like there is that moment of, okay, can you show someone get the drop on him, and can you show him maybe, I mean, not to rip off the James Bond way of doing it, but can you give us that sense of like, this is the time
true.
where winning means not getting out alive,
That's totally what I'm looking for, really, to be honest with you.
and that's just a cool story to tell if they do
Yeah.
it right,
Yeah.
especially with the epic scope these movies have done, because so often the story has been, and then they get away, and to be like, oh, they don't, like that doesn't, I'm very protective of Simon Pegg's character in these films, but he's escaped death so many times.
I know.
That it's like he's
Benji's
almost
got to come in,
absent.
maybe.
He's almost absent from the marketing too, which makes me think. I don't know. Who knows what to think?
It's a good point. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Like he could die early in the movie as a real like things are fucked kind of thing, or it could be they're trying to keep him secret because he's in a cell the whole time he's in the movie, and they just can't release that image or whatever. But
Yeah.
this trailer focuses very much on the Ethan Hunt character, and teases a bunch of stunts, and the emotions of it are really high, and the I don't know, I found it to be very effective too. I think the score, particularly in the trailers for Mission Impossible, the score in the movies is great, but particularly in the trailers, the way they use the score,
The theme,
it always kills me. It always
I know.
gets me so pumped and feels like, oh, this is like truly like, it's got this epic sweep to it, like a James Bond movie used to feel like, where it's like, they're going to go all around the world, and you're gonna feel the danger, and you're gonna feel the excitement, and yeah, I'm a sucker for these movies, and I kind of don't want them to quit, but I also think you got to at some point, so why not?
We'll see.
Especially if you're putting the words final and dead and shit like that in the names of the movies. But also the Phoenician Scheme, Ronald, I feel like if you saw the trailer, you would do several backflips in your chair. It looks so, I mean, if you like Wes Anderson's like creative control and his imagery, this trailer has like some of his most interesting and wacky looking images.
Yeah,
and
dude.
the characters and the actors. Yeah, I mean, it really is like, it reminds me, it makes me feel like Grand Budapest Hotel vibes, as far as the sort of way that it feels like it might be a little bit more of an action adventure, on top of being one of his types of things. But yeah, Michael Cera does seem like he was made to be.
Yeah, made to be involved.
Who else should have been already in a Wes Anderson movie but hasn't? I guess it'd be hard to remember because he's had so many people in his movies. But I love that Tom Hanks is now in the fold, and Bryan Cranston.
Timothy Chalamet's been in one, right?
You know,
He feels like very.
he almost
think
feels
he-
he almost
I
feels
think-
too much.
I think he has. I feel like you're right.
Too.
I think I'm confusing Wonka with.
He was
with
in the
him being
newspaper
in a-
one, right? I feel like he was in.
I bet he was. I bet he was in the newspaper one.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend he was. He
Yeah.
played Bill Murray's character.
He was in the French Dispatch. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's too. Yeah, that's got to be. That's
the
gotta be.
the lead of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he the lead?
Yeah.
He should really be in a movie.
He should really be in a Wes Anderson movie.
You know, the one thing about Timothy Chalamet is I want to see him do some stuff. I'm tired of that guy
yeah.
sitting on the bench, sitting
so
it out.
sick of
Pick up the pace, Timothy.
Yeah. You know,
But also Benicio del Toro, Ronald, just like he looks like he's eating up this Wes Anderson movie. I just feel like it's so.
he's so funny.
Oh, that was the one. That was the other trailer for the PTA film.
Oh yeah,
He's in that, and he's like kills in that trailer.
Yes. That rug.
Yeah, and how it closes and the rug flaps down is like that is fucking great.
Oh my
yeah. So when you're
God.
talking about One Battle After Another, the new PTA movie, that looks incredible.
Yeah,
totally.
Man,
As someone who loves his movies but sat Licorice Pizza out, this movie looks like I can't miss it.
Okay.
You know, so it's like,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying I won't watch it. I just didn't feel the need to, and I never did.
Yeah.
And now I realize that it's not, you know, it's not like I'm cooling on him at all. This is like, this feels different, right? This feels a little bit
Yeah.
something for him.
There's something he does with dialogue. You know what really, I don't care what anybody says. That first teaser, when he goes to the phone and he's doing the password.
yeah,
I love stuff like that with
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like something about like him struggling a little bit and he trying to figure out where he is in this story. Like I love that scene, man. Like
Yeah.
that's my favorite scene so far for some reason. I like just
Comedy Leo.
Comedy Leo.
I mean, like we saw it in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You get to see some of him doing, and I also think in
Wolf of Wall Street.
In The Wolf of Wall Street, there's
Yeah.
some real
Yeah.
like him playing like a guy who's the situation is getting the best of him.
Yeah.
You know?
That
he's
shot,
kinda rattled.
man. It's like that one shot of he steals the glasses, he comes out of the store, and then he goes to the phone. But there's something about how erratic it feels, and then the phone call that he has with the password. I mean, it's just like I'm ready. I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to see it. I love Tiana Taylor. Benicio del Toro looks really good in it, and they're together, right? It's,
Viva la Revolution.
Too.
yeah. And he doesn't even say it like really loud. He just
Yeah.
says, Viva la Revolution.
He like says it quietly.
Covers up into the rug. That's just, oh man.
So good.
Yeah. But Leonardo DiCaprio and Tiana Taylor's character are together in the movie.
think so.
Like they're,
Oh yeah. It looks like it.
okay. Yeah, I'm really excited about seeing how this plays out.
Cool. Yeah, that's all I had. I want to hear about Drop though, Ronald.
Yeah, tell us about
I want
Drop.
to know about Drop.
Yeah.
Tell me
Drop
about
a
your
little drop on
experience
us.
Man, Drop is Blumhouse's little drop of perfection. This was fun, man. This is a fun little quick movie that two locations, but it takes place in primarily a skyscraper restaurant. It's like the 10th floor of a building. Person goes on a date with a guy that she had been communicating with online. She goes on this subsequent date and she starts getting these airdrop memes. These pictures that keep coming up via airdrop, but it's this technology. It's like an app like airdrop. And they mention airdrop, but this is slightly different. It's like it's like airdrop, but you can see who's within the vicinity that has the app. So you can kind of measure it a little differently, which is really cool. It's like a kind of cool way that they present it. And to do the dialogue, instead of showing like a phone view, they show the text really big beside her. So it's like this real stylized sort of action-packed thing. So, you see her panic, you can see the text right beside her in this big, crazy font that's kind of sideways, kind of 3D looking. And in the this is in the trailer. I'm not giving anything away. She's told via text that she has to kill her date. No context on why, but the person airdropping this information tells her that she has to do it or her family will be killed in this via this camera system that she has, and they explain why she has a camera system in her house the way that she does. But it's quick, it's fun, It is, some of the logic of it is bonkers.
Well, I was going to ask Ronald, is this type of movie that has like a hook to it, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a very high concept kind of hook.
Yeah.
Like the question is, do they make you buy it?
Yeah.
And oftentimes these movies, there's that moment where it pushes beyond your ability to sit in the concept, and you're like, okay,
right.
now I don't believe it anymore, or now they went too far, or now it's gotten heightened to the point where I'm no longer hung on the tension. Like I didn't see the movie. Was it Flight Plan? What was the movie with Jason Bateman? And,
I like that one too.
But that was one that I heard people say that it kind of spun out. That it's like it goes from being like really tense to being like heightened in this way, where it's like,
I can see
like
that.
it's a little bit like the concept bends reality around it so that you can still stick to the concept. But it's a similar thing, right? Where like a villain is making somebody do stuff, with nefarious things. So, like, did you buy it? Did you find yourself getting all the way to the end and feel like you were still in the moment of the tension?
did. I mean, really on a real basic level, it's a whodunit.
So it's like wondering who it is. It could be anybody that's behind this. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And I mean, it's a proximity thing, because like, what they figure out about this app is it can only work within a certain proximity. It's Bluetooth based. So it's only 50 feet of wherever you are. So it's a crowded Friday night and it's a room full of people. So it has to be a person in this room. So that makes it really cool. And, you have these suspects that are coming and going, and it's quite a few people. So it's not like, it's like at first you're like the date has to be the person. It's like they paint that picture the whole movie, but it really is really a whodunit sort of thing, murder mystery essentially. Like it's really cool the way that it's done. But it's funny, you don't kind of realize that it's a whodunit mystery, whodunit murder mystery with no murder yet, until you're like kind of halfway into it, because it presents it like, it's kind of like Speed at first. It's like, do this, I'll kill you. Do this, or how dare you do that, bitch? Don't ever do that again. It's like a lot of that. So it's like, that's what's really cool. Like the responses to whatever she does are so quick that the pacing just moves really fast. Like this guy thinks of everything that she could possibly do and covers everything. So it becomes a little weird, but then you realize it has to be somebody in the fucking room. It doesn't make any sense. Like, so that's cool. I thought it was fun. I thought it was really fun. It makes no sense that it was as good as it was for the way that it was presented initially, I could see in people's faces that they were like, I was going to see a shit movie. And that's kind of what I was saying via text.
Yeah.
I thought I was shitting on a totally different movie. But people saw a trailer for this movie thinking, oh, this is, paint by numbers sort of shitty movie I'm going to see. But it has that Blumhouse edge to it. It has that just crazy enough. It's like dialed up a little bit. It's like a Netflix movie with a Blumhouse edge on it.
Well, I mean, the concept sounds like it would be like with a crowd, there'd be these moments and shifts and oh my gosh moments. Yeah, so it's like it totally seems like there's a kind of like exploitation film kind of simplicity to something like this,
like phone booth. Like it feels like phone booth, but in a bigger space. Like it feels like one of those sorts of things. But it's
they used a whole restaurant in this. They needed to do something between phone booth and a whole restaurant. It should have been like, the movie Room, actually.
Room,
and then not the same thing, but it is about a room.
The one with Tom Hardy when he's driving.
Oh yeah, The Drop. No. Not The Drop. What's
he's
that
driving
one
like
called?
this?
He had two movies that year: The Drop, which I loved, and then there was that other one. Oh, what's the one called in the car? I know the one you're talking about. Yeah.
Where he's like on and off the phone.
Yeah, on and off the phone, and it's like he's in a relationship situation.
Lock.
Okay.
Lock. Yeah.
Gotcha. I like those movies in one space.
Well, I mean, it's always interesting how they make it work, and if they make it work, and if they stick to their own concept. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of why I'm asking about that. It's like, how well did they create their own rules and then stick to it? I was going to try to come to that screening, but I couldn't make it. But one of the things I knew about the movie that is suiting this topic, I think, is that it's like 90 minutes, right? I mean, it's brisk.
It's tight. It's a tight 90 minutes. you really don't get much time to breathe because he is
I was sad to
insulting this
miss a
woman so much.
90-minute movie. I'll tell you that
Oh
much.
man, you can I tell you a story
How
that
long is it?
happened?
90 minutes?
It's about
Only if
5
it's
minutes.
more than 90 minutes.
5 minutes. Leaving the movie theater, there are two well-dressed men who come in a very quiet car that sounds like an electric car. They're well-dressed. They're in silk shirts and khakis. And the guy says, "Wallahi, do you speak Arabic?" And I said, "No, I don't speak Arabic." He was like, "Hey, can you give me some money? Because I don't have any gas." So the digital dash on this car it's a luxury car. The numbers are big on the thing. He's like, "I have no gas. Can you give me some money? We could go over to the ATM. You give me some money. I can give you this chain. This chain is worth $10,000. I can take this chain off, give it to you, and then you can give me your number, and I promise I will double the money. I'll triple it. I'll give you $1,000." I was like, "What the fuck is going on right now?"
Yeah, that's not right.
It was so tense. And what was weird was when he was talking to me, he reached his hand out to pat me on my chest. That's how far he's driving. And I'm like looking from a distance, and I'm like, these are really expensive outfits these guys have on. Silk shirts, and they look like mafia dudes. And I was like, are they gonna sell my body or something like that?
I was about to say, were you in Enora?
It felt like it felt like
Were the Safdie brothers filming this?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what movie you were in.
it felt crazy, man.
You were
It
either
was-
in Enora or you were either it was either the nice
Uncut
the
Gems.
nice or Uncut
I'm
Gems,
sorry,
right? Yeah.
Uncle Jams.
Uncle Jams.
I was on Uncle Jams. It really felt very tense, and it happened right after I left the movie. So I'm like, this movie was great. Hey, do you speak Arabic? I'm like, what the fuck is? It was so tense, man.
That's wild.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll
yeah.
airdrop you this meme, and you're like, hold on a second.
Hold on. Yeah, so it was a wild end to the night, but
Well, I'm glad you liked the movie. I can't
yeah.
wait to see it. I like Chris Landon, the guy who directed it, a lot. I like
Oh.
a lot of what he's written and directed.
I liked it, man. I liked
He
it
did
so much.
like some of the Paranormal Activity movies. He did like Happy Death Day,
He did Freaky, right?
Freaky. He wrote Disturbia.
Wow, this guy's a beast.
Yeah, and he also I think was a writer on Hard Eyes that came out earlier this year. He wrote that.
Okay.
Hard eyes,
No.
rude eyes.
Hard,
Surprise, motherfucker. Rude eyes, motherfucker. It's a hard eyes, motherfucker.
I love those.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It's like-
I've watched that's one of those, when people comment, why is this clip 7 hours long? Because they just mean they keep watching it.
Yeah.
That's the way I am with that one. Especially when I see a new one, or for a while there would be a new one,
Do you think that's where the name came from? It's like hard eyes, motherfucker.
I
Rude
bet
eyes,
not,
motherfucker.
but it might. I mean, who knows where it came? But I mean, like that definitely. When you started doing that, there's no question that anyone internet literate of a certain age knows what meme you're talking about. I remember trying to show that to Nikki and get her to laugh at it, and it did.
And
not
she just
take.
didn't
She
get
just
it?
was like, "What is this again?" And I was like, "Okay."
You need to watch Dexter.
Yeah.
The problem.
I didn't watch
motherfucker.
Dexter, but I just thought it was a
Oh.
funny meme. I mean, I got the joke of the meme without needing to see the show.
Yeah.
But well, cool. Well, I guess now it's time for us to take a quick little trip to Thailand before we end the episode and talk a little bit about White Lotus season 3. We'll talk a little bit about just the shape of the show at first, and then Ronald, you said you don't want to hear any spoilers, so maybe pop out for just a minute, just for Steve and I to talk for a few minutes about that.
Okay.
We don't need to go on too long, but Ronald, you did watch the first 2 episodes of the season. Have you watched the other 2 seasons of White Lotus? Have you been a White Lotus?
No, that's
viewer?
the thing.
Okay.
I had a project because Aaron had kind of asked me based on a guess of who was going to die, who was going to live. She's like, "Have you watched the previous?" It's like, "No." She's like, "You should probably go back and watch it because I don't think you would have asked me this particular question had you watched it."
yeah.
So yeah, I think I need to go back and watch it. I'm so pro this show. Like I like the feel of it. Even just watching these 2 episodes and watching like 1 or 2 episodes from the previous seasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's my kind of show to be.
See, I could see you really liking it,
Yeah.
but there are people who react very negatively to this show that will surprise me, that I think watch other shows that are of a similar kind of production value and quality. And I'm a little confused, but I hear a lot of people say, I don't want to watch a bunch of rich assholes feel like they have real problems or whatever. But I don't quite see the show as being that way. I think anything that's like that, I think Mike White is very much, that's what he's interested in, is the sort of criticism of people. And since you haven't seen a full season, Ronald, you won't know this, but a lot of times on the show that like the theme is like watching someone who you think might be one of the more sympathetic characters turn out to be one of the less sympathetic characters, and watching one of the characters who you think might be the worst turn out to have a little more humanity, and or if not have more humanity, just that character who you think is really going to do something that means something to them will like, oh, they'll have, for some superficial reason, they'll change their course. Yeah. And somebody else that you thought had no substance will do something that shows a little soul. So I think Mike White is really interested in that idea of maybe these characters are maybe you hate them, but I think what you're mentioning is with the actors that they cast, it's kind of hard to hate them. Like you're interested in what Walton Goggins is doing. You're interested in what Jason Isaacs and Parker Posey are doing. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting format for a show, and I do sort of think this might be the hype moment for it this season. I feel like Severance and White Lotus this season, the second season for Severance and third for White Lotus, they happen to hit like a peak of social media awareness and memes and people sharing about them and stuff. Sure. I wonder if it will always be that way, but it seems like in a couple of years you can expect another season of White Lotus. So it is a good format, Ronald. It's almost like an anthology show without being an anthology show, But I could see you really enjoying it. But I don't know. There's another part of me that could believe that halfway into the first season you might say, I can't deal with these people. I don't know. I'll just be interested to know which way you go. Because like I said, I know some people that just can't tolerate it. But I find it really interesting. And I don't think the wealth of the characters makes them totally unrelatable to me, because I think that really what it is just like they're privileged and they're in a place where they're having a really catered experience. Mm-hmm. And they're not really having a real experience, but they're rich enough to go to a place and have the absolute best possible experience where you're also somehow insulated from the reality of what's going on around you. And I feel like that's part of the substance of the show. Steve, what about you? You've watched it all along, right? I mean,
no, I'm a fan of the show for sure. I think I like that idea of that insulation. I feel like especially the first season and this season more than the second. I mean, the idea of how insulated everything was, because the second season went a little more outside of like the resort. Yeah. And, you get to see a little bit more of the locale, a little bit in this season as well. But I like the idea of like these just people that on paper in most cases like have it all, but this deep dive into their lives when they're kind of cooped up with one another on the resort and they're not in their day-to-day life where they separate from one each other. Constantly they go to their jobs and they go to their spas and they go to their things that they do in their day-to-day life that gives them the space to probably not get tired of one another or not to be annoyed by how annoying they are.
Right.
I like the idea of them being in this like pristine environment and slowly unraveling, that that trauma, the anxieties that they share and they never can express. Like I just love how awkward and uncomfortable that stuff gets, especially coming from the way that Mike White presents it. And like you said, John, like the cast that he kind of get together for the show for each season is always just such a blast to like hear who's even announced, but then to see who they are and how they how they portray the characters and things like that. But yeah, I know. I just love that idea of just like peeling back the layers of how broken, people are just broken in general, mm-hmm. And it's like even in the best possible case scenario with all the money and, this perfect serene world, it's just like you can't help but come out like how they're broken as well. And in some ways so much worse than, people that they probably look down on.
Right. And I think that like, to that point, like the way Jason Isaacs starts off season 3, and he's like his family arrives at this property that he's rented for them, and he's the man. Everybody talks about him being this guy who like used to be an altar boy or whatever, or a choir boy, and now he's like a a super successful businessman, super rich, and like he's got this attitude of like, look what I've provided for my family,
Yeah.
And then in just a few episodes, he's in the same spot looking out at the same property, and the tone and feel of this character is totally different,
Yeah.
And that's something you maybe only get when you're in that separate reality of a vacation. You only have that like true. I don't know if I think that there've been several vacations where some emotional shit that I was going through came out because I was separate from my life.
Yeah.
And I was able to relax. And
Yeah.
Nikki
You
and I are
process
talking
it,
about
yeah.
this heavy stuff, and it's like, oh, because I am not thinking about like, oh yeah, we need to fix that shutter, and we need to, like you're not in your environment. So I do think there's
For sure.
something about like, I don't know, it's an interesting format, and I do think it lends itself to that idea of people kind of getting outside of themselves and getting to know themselves. And then you have super funny things like Parker Posey. The talk about memes. She's the meme queen this season.
Yeah.
Piper, no.
No.
I love when she says later. You haven't gotten here, Ronald, yet, but when she says he better be the best Buddhist in all of China.
He's like, it's Thailand, Mom.
Yeah, right. But the whole way that those broad characters and sort of grounded characters and the cast, yeah, it's just it's like I look forward to, even though we just finished a season, I look forward to hearing those little whispers and announcements about who might be doing it.
Yeah.
In the next seasons, they might be going cold weather supposedly, and Mike White has expressed that he might want to base it around a film festival.
Oh,
That'd be
wow.
cool. That'd be
Because
really cool.
he said he kind of wants to go to material he really knows and like poke fun at the shit he knows how to poke fun at really well, because he gets a little bit of criticism each year for kind of stepping outside of his culture and maybe like doing like a dabbler's version of another culture. And he said that's part of the point, but he wants to maybe do something that feels really
Bring
in
it
his
back.
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And him doing like a spoof of like a
Sundance or something.
Sundance or something. I can already feel it. I can already feel the
yeah.
sort of the way that it would play. So, and also as far as which characters can come back, as they do on this show, occasionally a character comes back. You can picture several of these characters going to a ski resort or something, or maybe even being like a film producer or so. I mean, you can picture, some of these wealthy characters having really, really the same kind of crisis of conscience you're talking about, Steve, but just at a film festival.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, I could see Michelle Monaghan's character maybe takes her film to the Sundance, yeah. And pops back up. But yeah, no, I mean, this is, I don't want to, I don't know. In general, though, I don't really want to spoil a whole lot for anybody listening, because it just aired, and I don't want to like, if anybody's behind, because I know how far I fall behind on some of these shows. But in general, I just feel like it's another great season of a great show. I don't know where it falls for me among the, I don't know that I've thought about ranking them, but I thought, like, Aaron and I were talking a lot about it. Like, we went to dinner Monday night after watching it. We were like processing this season felt a little different too. Like the takeaways of some of the dynamics of the characters, of the, basically the idea of these sets of characters that you arrive on this island at this resort with, the family, the group of friends, and, Walton Goggins and his girlfriend, and literally the baggage that they bring to the island, and like what they leave with. It's really cool, like, to think about and talk about, and like the parallels between some of the characters. And honestly, like, there's a scene in the finale that Carrie Coon has that like was really impactful, and I thought was like a really well, like, this little, it'll be the clip that maybe gets shown for like an Emmy consideration or something for her, I'm sure, at the table with the three girlfriends. But I don't know, I just really enjoyed the way that they kind of, again, this analogy of like peeling back layers of these relationships, this family, this couple, this group of friends, and even the ones that they form with people at the resort. Our carryover character from the seasons prior, her placement in this season was really interesting and very big crisis of character and conscious, and all these things that come into play towards the end of the season were, I thought, really interesting. And I just can't wait to watch another season of it. I know, it's just like, it's a very entertaining show, and I think it's so creative and really the scale of the show is so big, but like they pull this off, and it's so successful because of the way they approach the production. I was reading this really interesting article the other day about it started with the first season because of requirements due to COVID and lockdown and the way they approach the casting and like how much everybody gets paid. Like basically everybody gets paid the same price, the same rate per episode, basically.
Oh, wow.
And it like maxes out for the season, and like there's no hierarchy of who's what, and all the casting
Aren't
is
they
alphabetical.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
exactly. Everything's alphabetical.
Jinx.
There's no like there's no priority of anything, and I think that's a really cool way to approach the show. Like they do that a lot on network stuff, but I mean for a show like this on HBO to be like that, again because of COVID to start, and that's why the first season being in Hawaii was like a good solution for isolation. Like that's the necessity of the show, but again to the point of like what comes out when you're isolated can be pretty traumatic. But it's really cool. Like I just really like that approach, and I think it bodes well for the seasons going forward, however long the show goes, is that people want to come play in this playground that Mike White creates and go to these amazing places or these just kind of interesting places if they're not exotic like this season. But it's like there's no hierarchy to like who is in the show. It's more about like who are they playing and what does that character bring to that season's story, because you have people playing these roles that are just as impactful in a season as the person that you traditionally would think would be like the top billing person of the season, but they're just as important in the story as, somebody that you might be seeing for the first time, like the youngest brother in the family. Like, he's only been in a couple things and like, he's pretty impactful this season. And it's like, he's kind of like definitely like a takeaway performance from the season for me is like, wow, the kid was really great.
And then someone like Patrick Schwarzenegger, who we have seen before,
right,
but who
right.
this is like a coming out party.
He was incredible. He's so good.
Yeah, really, really, really good. And really does like handles that kind of arc that I was talking about really, really well. If we're not going to do like a little spoiler section, I guess I'll try to be as unspoilery as possible and just say that like I do think that at the end of the season, I was frustrated by certain storylines, and I'm still kind of wrestling with whether I'm frustrated by what the characters did in the world or if I'm frustrated by the way the storyline was written and handled on the show. There's just like a couple that I feel like maybe like there's like a scene I think maybe I needed to see that wasn't there to for a shift in one storyline, and then there's another storyline where I will say this. I guess this actually doesn't reveal anything. That I will say that around the character that dies, that storyline to me felt like it was full of so many like half-baked ideas and like so much that I'm willing to say, oh, a character that I was really interested to see on this show turned out to be kind of a dumbass, in a way, and in a way that I can't tell if it's lazy writing or if it's the point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
share
think there
that.
was maybe
I share
another
that.
storyline or so that had that sort of feeling for me of like when you get a storyline, a show like this where there's this many groups of characters and they all have their own little resolution, you can debate whether the show really landed the story that they were trying to do with those characters. And I think Mike White is smart, and I think he's funny, and I think that maybe when you structure an 8-episode season around the idea of a last episode kind of having all the juice in it, certain storylines are going to suffer for that, and certain storylines are going to work. You know what I mean? And I think that like we can debate that every time a show comes out that does this. That's like, are you just biding your time?
I totally agree. Yeah.
Getting to the end of the season, some of the storylines almost seemed like they were on a different timetable than others, and it felt a little stretched out. Or repetitive or redundant or something by the time it got to the end. But I was still so swept away by the execution, and the music is great, the acting is great, the cinematography is really interesting. So I was like, oh, okay, I don't know. This is like something where I actually do wrestle with it. I actually am thinking like, okay, how much was Mike White wanting to show me the story of a disappointing character? Or how much did he just sort of slightly disappointingly tell the story?
It's so funny you say that, because I mean, when I mentioned like us talking about this when we went to dinner the other night, like that's literally the pieces that Aaron and I were kind of mulling over and going back and forth about. Because I think this season more than any other ones, I feel like there's that feeling leaving the finale for sure.
It was really conscious of the mystery. Like this season more than any other, maybe dealt with that whole feeling of like, you're really wondering every step of the way, who's it going to be?
Yes.
Whereas the first 2 seasons, it was maybe a little bit more stealthy the way that the death was integrated into the story. But I mean, in a way, that was fine. I felt like it was kind of fun to have a season where literally characters are saying things like, "Oh, I'll be fine. I'll live. Oh, you'll survive." You know, like there were so many lines that were about dying or who's going to die or whatever.
Yeah.
That I feel like this was the season that did sort of lean into that, almost more of a it's not an action story, but it's a little bit more of like a crime story or something. I don't know than the previous seasons have been. So
I do want to say something, but I can't say it because I don't want to spoil it for Ronald. But all I'm going to say is seeing a character doing somersault down a hallway was a peak moment for me this season.
Yes,
I won't say who or when or why, but there's a character that does that, and I said out loud when I watched it, I was like, only that character would do that.
Yes,
and I was like, I need more of that. But
yes,
you'll know it when you see it, Ronald.
Okay.
It's a moment of joy seeing that character.
And I wonder, was it written in, or was that just?
There's no way that was written in. There's absolutely no way. And when you see it and know who it is, you will, Ronald. You're gonna have to agree with me. Like,
Okay.
that's totally a moment thing. And even when it happens, there's a little hesitation when they like come out of it and get up on a chair. That is like, it's like somebody was good enough to not laugh at this.
Yeah,
and they kept it. It's so good. It's so good.
What he's doing in that whole scene.
Yeah.
It's so funny when he asks him what he's doing, and he's like, "I'm showing him my techniques or whatever." It was just, it's really funny. So,
so good. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I hope you catch up on it, Ron. We can maybe talk once you finish it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
There's only other thing I was going to mention. I haven't really watched much else. Aaron and I are kind of plowing through this new Netflix series called The Residents. Have you guys heard of it?
Yes.
Watched it?
It's another all-star cast, right? Like
insane, yeah. Like Uza Aduba, Randall Park, Isaiah Whitlock Jr., Bronson Pinchot, who else? Ken Marino, Jason Lee, Al Franken. It's insane. It's a really so far it's been very enjoyable. It's a whodunit, a death at the White House during a state dinner, lockdown, and it's kind of being told through the trial or the hearing, the Senate hearing in the wake of it. But it's got like that whole like savant, like master detective kind of thing that Uza is the lead in it. She plays Cordelia Cupp, the detective of with a reputation that follows her. But Giancarlo Esposito is also in it. We're only like halfway through it, but we're definitely really enjoying that. That's on Netflix. Super entertaining. Has a lot of cool stylistic choices, like as you kind of diorama jump through the White House layout and kind of learn the landscape or the geography of what the White House looks like as a diorama. It's pretty cool to see visually.
That's a cool idea. I think I saw that on the trailer. I didn't know that was
it's kind of got some style to it for sure. And I love Randall Park, all the little scenes he has. He's one of the other detectives on the case. But yeah, it's called The Residents. It came out like a week or two ago, and I think it's only like 9 episodes, but I'm definitely into it. So that would be a recommendation so far to check out.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff between now and next episode. We've got Black Mirror new season. We've got Last of Us starting next week or this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of TV to watch. Have you guys seen anything else you want to mention at the end of the show?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. That
Can't
works.
wait to talk about Looney Tunes next time.
Yeah.
Great pick, Ronald.
Yeah, and we'll actually have seen Sinners. All three of us. Hopefully, we'll be able to go see it, and we'll be able to review that.
And season 1 of Teensus.
Oh, Teensus.
Teensus.
That's not how you name it. You can't say Teensus. Oh
It's
my god, that show.
Jesus.
Oh my
Jesus.
god. Yeah, honestly, the same thing as the week prior.
Ronald, it's like those veneers. They're
You gotta
part
come
of the
out.
voice. Yeah.
You gotta come out, change us. Just
Jesus.
give me the green light.
Jesus.
Changes.
He's gold, man.
And the way
right.
they're doing,
Yeah.
the way they're with BJ, the fact that they're doing a monkey shines thing.
Fucking hilarious.
There's
Oh
a lot
my
of like
God.
horror references this season.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is.
Like
yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah, Jason Voorhees. You got Monkey Shines.
Yeah.
Or Mother Voorhees.
Oh,
I'll miss it
Keith.
when it's gone. I'll miss it when it's gone.
Like, I wonder what the actor that plays Keith, what does his dad think of what's going on? Or, I mean, maybe he's got like a really cool, I hope he has a really cool family that understands that's a great part. But I'm just trying to picture, like, does he have like a red pill older brother who's like, I can't believe you're doing that.
Yeah.
You know? And I just love what was it in the most recent one that tickled me so much when they're in the treehouse and Keith leaves and then he goes outside and he looks.
Like peeks in the window.
He looks in the window and he says little sneaky peek or something like that. And then he says, "You caught me."
You caught me.
But just the fact that he went outside and had to go look at it. I'm like, I wonder, are people offended by that depiction? Because I find it to be such a silly, kind of sweet depiction of like a relationship. But I wonder, is it seen as like othering in some way? Because I would hate to find that out. Because to me, it's just an extremely funny relationship between these two guys.
Yeah.
Like, they so genuinely love each other that it actually is kind of touching.
All right. Movieschmovie.com is the website. You can go there to listen to the past episodes. This episode, you might even be there already listening to the pod there. You can subscribe there to any of the platforms you prefer. Also, Movie Schmovie has the YouTube page you can go to, youtube.com/Movie Schmovie podcast. For the full video episode, the full audio episode, and also the video shorts that come out weekly. Take your pick, enjoy it. We hope you do. And if you do, leave a comment, engage somehow. Maybe if you're domestic, you might have a chance of still winning the DVD, the flight plan. Which one is it? Flight Risk?
Flight Risk.
One of my best friends who listens to the show said they would have entered, but they don't want to have a copy of that movie.
Yikes. Yikes.
Oh, God.
It cuts deep. Hopefully Lionsgate tuned out by that point. They always tune out when I get to the website, so hopefully you're in the clear there, Joe.
Right. Well, I just said a friend.
Yeah.
I don't vouch for all the movie opinions of my friends. My friends would scream at me if they saw some of the movies that I love.
Sorry, Lionsgate. Well, I real quick, I did want to say, Ronald, you let me down a little bit. And I love you still, but when you started your review of Drop, I was a little disappointed that you did it was filmed. I thought for sure you were going to call it back and be like, so yeah, Drop. It was filmed.
Yeah, right.
And you didn't mention whether there were restaurant noises in it. Great sound design. Restaurant noises.
Just clinging and clanging.
Silverware.
Cling.
Oh, by the way, I did think the guy in Top Secret, when they were showing all the French, the warriors or whatever, the soldiers, the guy who was brandishing a ladle and had cutlery all in his vest. I thought that was pretty funny.
He was loaded. All right, man. Well, great episode. Good seeing you both.
Yes.
Listening. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, you made our day. Thanks.
Bye.